So tonight we're going to be tying up a Parachute Adams pattern. This is a Hi-Vis Parachute Adams variation. It is not a traditional Adams pattern by any means, but very effective and fun to tie. So with that, before we get started, I want to take and invite you to like the video, leave us a comment, hit the subscribe button and bell to receive future notifications. This helps us to get our content out to more people and get seen, and we appreciate your support in doing so. Make sure you go to the website and buy the materials to tie this pattern as well. That helps us out a great deal, and we just want to say thank you for watching our video, and we hope you enjoy it. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started today. So tonight we're going to be tying with the Moonlit Tagatta ML 102. This is a standard wired forged hook. This is a dry fly hook, so it's a real strong dry fly. Feel free to use the ML052 on this hook as well. Tie this in a variety of different sizes. So we're going to be using Semperfly Classic Wax Gray thread in the 12/0. We'll start this at 3/4, and I've got a nice long tag end that I'm going to use to create a nice smooth even taper to this body, and I use it to help split my tail at the end of this. So I'm going to wrap to the bend of the hook. I'm just going to pull that thread forward, and I'm going to actually place just a couple wraps behind it. Lay that off to the side. For the tail, we're just using the rust colored micro Fibbets. I'm going to get me 4 of these. Oh, there we go, we got 4. Now I'll trim them out. I'm going to take and measure these to be roughly the length of the hook shank. If I'm going to err on the side of caution, I'm going to make them a little longer than shorter, as being this is a dry fly. Make sure after a couple wraps I've got that secured up on the top of the hook shank. Now I'm just going to take my thumb and I'm going to split these micro Fibbets. With my thumb, separate them, and then I'm going to pull that tag end forward, and that's going to help splay out and separate that tail. Okay, I'm just going to secure that down with a good couple securing wraps, and then I'm going to pull the micro Fibbets and the tail up, and we're going to wrap that all the way up to that 3/4 point. And you can see I've got a nice little splay to my micro Fibbets. Okay, now for my post, I'm just going to take some Semperfly Poly Yarn. I'm going to lay that across the hook shank. I'm going to give it a good couple wraps. Pull it up, make sure it's in the right place. Now I'll lock that in with a couple wraps in front and a couple wraps on the back side. That's going to lock that in. Now I'm going to tie up this post, And I give it a good couple wraps around, and then in front and in back, just to secure that down, lock it in place. And that allows me to wrap up the post just a little bit better. I'm going to go roughly about a hook eye up this shank here. Really don't even know how high to really say that is, but you don't want to wrap up too high and create a post that you have to wrap too many wraps of hackle. Your hackle you really want to be roughly about 2, maybe 3 wraps of hackle. Now I can just kind of use my hand and just kind of pull that apart if I feel like I need to. For the body, I'm using Semperfly Perfect Quill in the clear so that my gray thread shows underneath. I'm going to wrap that with the sticky part against the body of this fly, but the black strip is down along the bottom of the hook shank. So I'm going to secure this in. And I am going to wrap all the way up to basically that post, just because I want a nice even smooth body. Okay, now I'm gonna create a little bit of a taper. I'm gonna wrap rearward just to about the starting point and forward again, and then rearward, forward. I'll do this just, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, just create a nice good taper to this. You don't have to do this. This is just what I like. I still get a nice thin profile body that you get on a Parachute Adams, but I like to have a little taper. Now that we've half hitched that thread at the top, we're going to take this Perfect Quill. We want that black strip facing the rear of the hook, and we're just going to take and wrap this and create that nice quill body segmented look. Get nice smooth clean wraps. Every once in a while I got to make sure I don't wrap in a poly yarn fiber. I'll just wrap this all the way up into that post, where I'm going to take and secure that off. 2 wraps over the top. Wrap in front, just locks everything in. I like to take a razor blade and trim that off. Okay. Now that we've got that, we're going to take a Dark Barred Ginger. Oh, I got a little sticky stuff on there. Okay. Here's Dark Barred Ginger. Really like this. I'm gonna take it and prep this real quick. So if you look at this, I've prepped that one side has actually gone up a little bit further. That's the side that's going to wrap against the post, and that's going to help me get a nice good start to my wrap. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to have the shiny side facing me. I'm going to take it kind of at an angle with that stem I'm just going to hold that stem up as I go and secure it and wrap around. Just kind of holding that stem going up. Now that I've secured that in, drop that down. I'm going to take some super fine dubbing in Adams color, Kapak dubbing in the Adams color from Semperfly. You can see not a very big pinch here. Don't need a whole lot. I'm just gonna put this on my thread. Now we're gonna take and wrap our thorax to this fly. And you don't want a big thorax. You want it to be nice and smooth. Okay, now that we've got that, I'm going to take this hackle and I want the shiny side facing down. And then I'm just going to wrap. And I'm going to give 3 wraps is what I like to give. And then I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to secure that down to the post. 1 wrap, that's all I'm going to do right now. Okay, so I've secured that down on the post. I'm going to take a little bit of Loctite super glue that I have with this little brush here. I'm just going to put a nice little dab there. And then I'm going to go underneath the fibers and over my stem on my side so that I'm really locking that in. But you can see as I go around the fronts and stuff, I'm really just going underneath all those hackle fibers. And then I'm going to take my little snip tool on the end of my whip finish and trim that out. And then I can either take a pair of scissors or I can take a blade, and we're just gonna trim that hackle stem out. I pull this up and I cut it at an angle for my post, and there you've got your Parachute Adams Variation quill body. Nice, good, even profile taper and good proportions. I can see that I've got a few hackle stems that are just kind of not, they're a little bit further down. You can see just a little bit sticking out still, but I'm not going to be able to see that with my naked eye. But now I've got a nice clean post, clean body, clean eye, and that's how we like to do our parachutes. And here's our Parachute Adams variation. I would like to invite you to like the video, to leave us a comment, to hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive future notifications. This helps us with the algorithms and we appreciate it. So please take the time to do that, and we look forward to seeing you next week.